There we go. Can you hear me now? Let's see. Hello, hello, hello.
There we go. Can you hear
There
me
we
now?
go. Yes.
Let's see.
Welcome.
Hello, hello,
Welcome
hello.
to Let's Keep It Real. I am your host, Chantell Duke-Robinson. Sorry, I'm running a little late. We lost all the power somehow in the basement. Well, not all the power, but our outlets weren't working for some reason. But we made it. I'm here. I'm hoping you all had a wonderful weekend. Having a wonderful weekend, should I say. Let me see. I want to try to get real quick here. Let me see if I can get my disclosure up. I'm hoping I can do it today. I'll tell you, I am running behind. Yesterday was my birthday, so this is my birthday weekend, and I was not going to come on, but then I decided why not? I'm just kind of chilling around the house anyway, so I thought, let me go ahead and do the show. But before I get into, again, for those who do not know me, I am Chantell Duke-Robinson, the host of Let's Keep It Real. There we go. Let me get those up here real quick. Get that disclosure, and hopefully I can see, I can read it. If I can get it clear enough. This doesn't work really well. Bear with me. I hope everybody is doing great. I'm excited. I am. I'm going to have to contact these folks about my little stuff. Let me see. I want to get it where I can see it. That would be nice, huh? Bear with me. I got to get this up here for you guys. Okay, so let me do it the old school way. Let me go old school. I just got to read it. Got to read the old disclaimer. Here we go. Please be advised that the views and opinions of our guests and my state may not reflect mine. I am not offering counseling nor any advice that is within the scope of my licensure governed by the state in which I reside. All advice is given under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit who governs my right to counsel. The counsel information are solely the viewers of the contributor of the show, which is me. My feedback, opinions, and expressions are based on my personal background and my spiritual belief only. Yay. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the show. I am looking to hoping that we have a really good show and I get some interaction. This thing is all over the place. I tell you, I've had a rough start. And I see it's getting rougher. Yes. Hold on. Exactly. Right. Speak those things that are not as though they are. There we go. Here we go. So listen, I've been covering some material, right? I'm looking to have a guest. She was supposed to be on today. Yes, today. I need to reach out to her. I don't know if I can get her to come on at the last minute, but my coworker was going to come on today, and we were so busy trying to get up out of work on Friday, honey. Listen, I didn't forgot to touch base to remind her to be on the show. Nevertheless, I'll get her on as soon as I can. Look, Fruit of the Harvest Ministries. We wrote a course book, right? And our course book is on personal development and corrective thinking, and it's for spiritual and practical use. I wrote it, I think in 2020, the top of 2020. I published it, and you can get it if you like. But I was teaching some of the material. So the course books talks about barriers that we're faced with, like every day. Some people been faced with barriers their whole lives, and they just don't know how to get from under, all, or how to get through the struggle of barriers such as anger, that woe is me feeling, being impatient, being anxious, self-righteousness. And I pull some of those things out, and I talk about, I discuss it in a book, and I give you ways on how you can combat some of those things. Because I don't know about you, but I struggle with a lot of these things that I talk about in the book. And so I thought, I have learned so much throughout the years, working with people who struggle with mental health illnesses and other areas in their lives, with being angry and stuff like that, and just frustrated with our system, with society, with life. And I thought, somebody need to be doing something to kind of give back or share with people ways that they can overcome some of their barriers. And so I put a book together real quickly, and includes a bunch of skill cards and stuff in there, some journal pages, some quizzes, some practical homework applications and stuff like that. And so I thought, let me teach out my book. Let me teach out my book, what God has given me, to help those that Pastor Chris and I, for those of you who do not know, myself and my husband are pastors. And so God has blessed us with a small church. And we're still evangelizing, trying to get folk to come to church. How many of y'all know people don't want to be bothered with the church no more? You can't get people to come to church. But I've been, trying to get people in church. And so I thought this is a good way to do it. I'm going to teach out my book today. Hold on. Wait a minute. Right. So with that said, let's begin. So we've covered like 2 chapters, right? And so today we're going to be discussing being impatient and being anxious. And it's out of chapter 3. We've covered chapter 1 and 2. So now we're going to go into chapter 3. I'm going to get right in it. All right. So the introduction is having patience is key. Defeating being anxious. With defeating being anxious. In today's world, it seems people want things not now, but right now. Are you one of those people that want things like not now, but right now? I'm that way. If I want something, be it something I see at the stores or whatever, something I want to do, even in ministry, I want to do stuff right now. I don't want to wait. I'm very impatient. That was one of the things that my spiritual mom taught me. When I started hearing from God, she said, hold on now, he's going to give you more. He's going to give you more. Just wait, calm down. And so I had to do that in order to get the full picture, right? So I'm one of those people that just can't wait. If they could put their needs in a microwave and the results were instant, that would suit them just fine. Are you impatient, anxious to get things done? I can remember not having patience during the time that my mind was to be renewed, and having to learn to slow down and trust in my higher power was difficult because I wanted to please him so much. So I just gave you a little brief story about that situation, right? Today, I had to learn to believe in my higher power's ability to help me change. A lot of times we want to change, right? And I say in the book higher power because everybody that is not Christian. But, most people, for the most part, they have a higher power in which they believe and they trust in. And one of the things that he teach my higher power, Jesus Christ, um, um, Jehovah, God, and Holy Spirit, they teach me to be patient and to be calm. So I'm learning today to practice patience in all things. I believe that according to scripture, there is hope in the things we believe. The King James Version Bible states, but if we hope for what we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. And you can find that in Romans 8:25 if you're a Christian and you study out of the King James Version Bible. Again, that's Romans 8:25. So hope for it, believe in it, and then have patience is what I just heard, right? It seems sometimes just believing in God is not enough for some, though. Some people just, believing in God is just not. Remember, it goes back to just being anxious and wanting what you want and want it instantly, right? If you can microwave it, you would, so it can be ready right there. You don't care what you don't want to have to go through nothing, deal with anything. You just want it quickly. While I was studying to be a mental health counselor, I learned individuals who lack patience and are anxious have issues that may have to be resolved to avoid being placed on medication, or they may need medication to help with anxiety. How many of y'all know a lot of times people suffer with anxiety, meaning being impatient? Let me back up just a little bit. Being impatient can cause you to have it, be anxious, right? Being anxious is a symptom of having anxiety. Then you start feeling all these feelings and stuff, that's all these sticky feelings that just kind of have you stuck, right? When things don't go your way. In this lesson, we will help you. I'm going to help you to identify some of the reasons why you are impatient and anxious, and how those barriers, if left unannounced, unattended to, should have been, may have interfered with completing tasks, right? How many of you are, if you cannot get it done? I'm that type. If I can't get it right then, or if I can't get it done right then, I start losing interest. Like instantly, I'll start losing interest, right? Now I'm talking about things today, about things within us that we've decided to work on, that had, barriers. I call them barriers, the barriers within us that prevents us from reaching our goals, that can cause us to get stuck because we just can't move through it, right? So I'm talking about identifying those, touching those things within you, and then working a plan to actually get those things up and out of you, so that you can move past whatever you're going to need to move past in the future, right? To reach a goal. If you're anxious, but you have a project that you know that you want to complete, and when you complete the project, it might bring you a bunch of money, or it might help folk, but you can't get past being anxious. You can't slow down. You don't know what to do to get grounded enough to stay focused on it because you're just too anxious. Today, you are going to learn, right, how to be able to get past those things so that you can complete whatever task, you can reach whatever goals you're trying to reach in order to be successful at whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Come on now. I don't know about y'all, but it took me to get to this age before I start feeling kind of a little anxieties. I'm just going to keep it real with you, honey. There's times, even with today, sometimes even just the thought of having to get up and go to work can cause a little bit of anxiety for me, right? Because I know these are things that I have to do, and I have to push through it in order to be successful at what it is that I have, decided to do. I have to go to work. I got to make money. I have to help Pastor Chris with getting things taken care of around here. And I need my own little loot, right? So I got to get up. So, but because I'm tired of working a 9 to 5, and I would rather just stay at home, that, I have got to get past that. I have to get over that, right? So today, I believe in journaling. I believe in journaling wholeheartedly. Whereas in times past, I was not the type of person that liked to write. I didn't want to pick up a pencil, a paper. I just wasn't, interested in writing in school. I always felt like a failure when it came to being able to read, and things like that, and comprehend. Because when I had questions as a child and I would raise my hand up, my teacher would always tell me to go back and read again, or get a better understanding to what, the whatever it was I was trying to relay to the class when I raised my hand up, and she would call on me. And so I lost interest. I lost interest in sharing my ideals and things like that, because I just felt like, I was going to get it wrong. So I wasn't interested in writing my ideals. I wasn't interested in trying to help other people to, probe into their writings and things like that, to find, comprehend what they were. I just was not. But today, I'm different today. And now I know today that it was the enemy trying to steal me of what God has, the wisdom and knowledge that God has blessed me with in order to help others. So I say today, I journal. Hold on, you guys. Something is bothering me. This picture, to me, it looks slanted, and it's not slanted in here, but that picture looks slanted, and that's driving me nuts. And the camera, to get up and see this one right here, doesn't look slanted. It looks slanted. It looks like something wrong with this picture. Hold on, y'all. I can't. I'm sorry. That's Apostle. I just can't. It's something out of order. I gotta fix it. It just don't look right to me, and I'm hoping that did the job there. That was driving me nuts. There you go. That's better. So, but anyway, let's get into a listen. Journaling is good. Journaling is a way that you can release things that are on your mind, right? So get you some pencil and paper, or whatever, and just begin to journal, right? Write down things that concerns you being impatient. I wrote, journal some of the things that has triggered you to become impatient or anxious. Do that. Start doing that. Sometimes refocusing on other things can help you regroup and focus on the task at hand. So, in the case of journaling in this way, in order to regroup, right? Or say, for instance, you get anxious and you don't, you just can't stay focused. Some people say, I have ADHD, blah, 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 blah. Get you a pencil, keep your pencil and paper, and begin to just write out the things you hear, the things you see. I know a girl where I work. She has some type of disorder. I'm not sure what it is, but when we have our meetings, she always have pencil and paper, and she is writing. She's always writing, and she's actually coloring. She does all kind of stuff though. But I believe in journaling your thoughts. Right? Think back. If you think back to a time like, when have I been so anxious or so impatient with people or things or whatever that it really affected me? Why wasn't I able to stay focused? And just start writing about it. Writing. In the book, it's got journal page, so you don't have to get an extra book. You can just journal some stuff in your book, right? Your workbook. Start writing, right? And then on a worksheet in the book, we talk about being anxious. Sometimes role playing past events in which you show evidence of being anxious or a time here you were impatient can be helpful to learning techniques that can help you defeat being anxious or impatient. Today, your instructor will demonstrate how to use skills, or she or he may model for you during role play with the participant. Practicing the skills will help you to address the barriers that may have prevented you from accomplishing goals in the past. Below list 3 times being impatient and anxious have prevented you from seeing something through to the end, right? Think about it. I'm gonna get the skill card. I'm gonna do it now. We're gonna do a skill. And remember, we're working through being impatient today, right? And you should be thinking about right now, like 3 times, right, that you weren't able to see something through because you was anxious, too anxious, or you was impatient. You just couldn't work on it. You couldn't wait. You just couldn't wait. And what we're gonna do, I try to get Pastor Chris on the show today. I'm like, come on, it's my birthday weekend. So he up there watching about some show, a whole series. He's been watching all day, so I couldn't get him down here to role play. But I'm gonna read you some steps, right? So if you've been anxious or impatient at times and you haven't been able to see things through, the first thing you need to do is calm down by taking several deep breaths. And I would say in through your mouth, like, and hold it for 3 seconds. Blow it out. And do 3 through your nose. Well, hold it for 3 seconds. And blow it out. Do that 3 times, right? 3 through your mouth, 3 through your nose. Hold them both times for 3 seconds. And it kind of help you bring it in, kind of woosah a little bit, right? Just bring it down a little bit. That would be the first thing, right? So I'm demonstrating. I'm just going to slowly demonstrate before I go to the next step. How you can do it. People don't even know you're doing it. Sometimes you might have to do it at work. Now through your nose. Lord. See, I just demonstrated how to do that, right? So the second thing would be to do it. Identify how your feelings are affecting your body, right? So you're anxious, right? The boss just came in and said, or you just got an email saying, I need you to do this, that, and the other. Or the wife just said, I need you to do this, that, and the other. Um, you need to get the task done, right? You want to get it done. You have to, it's imperative that you get it done, but you don't want to, or you just suddenly become anxious or impatient with having to do it, you know? And so that'll be a good place to start breathing, right? Think about how it's making your body feel. Are you stressed out? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Why are you feeling all of these things? Because somebody done asked you to do something, or there's something you need to do, something you've been putting off, right? Then the first thing, once you're able to identify it, right? You've used your techniques to breathe in, to kind of relax, to just chill, so you can get through that moment by deep breathing, right? Listen, bringing it in, blowing it out. Lord have mercy, right? I can hear Chris now. Lord, honey, I need you to go to the store again. Lord, they're gonna deep breath. Lord, this wife, right? He hold it, he hold it, he hold it. Then he let it out. Chris, you hear it again, right? Chris. Then he bring it to the nose. Then he brings it out. Only 3 seconds, brings it out. And then he responds like, Lord have mercy. Okay, I'm good. So identify her body. Okay, let me hurry up. Let me go ahead and get ready to get done for this woman. Call me again, right? That's Chris. And then if you really just practicing the skill, right? So that when the time comes, you know how to respond. At that time, write your issue in a journal. Write down, Chantell calls me often to go and run errands, and I feel frustrated about it. I feel anxious about it. I'm tired. I feel, oh my God, is she ever going to ever stop asking me to do things? Whatever it is that you're feeling, write it down, right, in your journal. Start writing about it. Write it out. Get it out, right? That's the ideal. Get this stuff out so you can deal with it. Then find something else to do. And then after you've done that, right? So you're writing it down just for practice purposes. So when the time comes and you're bothered by something that causes or triggers you to be anxious, you're learning. But when you start working the thick skills after you've done your breathing and you've identified what you're feeling in your body, just go ahead and find something else to do real quick to kind of distract you from that moment, right? So say for instance, she's told me to, okay, so Chantell's already called me. This is Pastor Chris. Chantell's already called me to do something. I know she needs it done. So let me just say something to her real quick. I must respond real quick. Okay, honey, or whatever. And then I'm going to do something else real quick just to take all of that pressure of it, right? That takes that anxiousness out of it, that, you know, those attitudes that come with being impatient, with dealing with the thought, you know, I'm going to do something else really quick if I can. And then proceed, right, with whatever it is that I need to do or whatever is expected of me. But I'm breathing still throughout the thought of knowing I have to do it. I'm bringing my breathing pattern down. I'm focused on doing the first steps of what it is that what it's going to take me to get the task done. So the next thing would do step 5. I say revisit the issue, but revisit the issue in a different way. If you're practicing what to do, you want to just look over your notes and see, okay, I saw, you know, this issue and that issue and how I perceived, you know, the instructions or whatever it is I needed to do. And I felt this way and I felt that way. So you revisit the issues and figure out, okay, I'm cool. Let me get through that, do some breathing, and then tackle the task at hand. You know, you've prepared yourself, you worked yourself up so that it's not going to be so bam, you know, you're not going to be so anxious or so, you know, impatient with yourself's inability to get it done, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that makes sense. This is a tough one. So again, being anxious and being impatient, you know, you just want things done really quick. And so when someone or you that you just have that personality type, right? If somebody tell you to do something, or if you need to do something, you're just that type of person. You want to get it done. And sometimes our body can respond to that in ways that we don't even know it. We can become frustrated. We can become suddenly, we can go from 0 to 100 in our response to people that might need us to do things. And in identifying those things, the best thing to do, you know, if you don't know what caused you to do all that, journal, and try to figure out what's going on and just write until you can figure out what's happening during that time. It's, I gave an example like me and Pastor Chris. I might say to him, Pastor, I need you to go to the store, and I might say it again. So all of a sudden, he's anxious. Oh, okay, let me get out. You can get anxious, and when people give you instructions and you don't want to follow, instead of saying, because a lot of times he'll say, go to the store. What you want me to go to the store for? What did you say again? I'm like, I just told you I need some bread. What? And stuff like that. I'm like, hold on, just calm down. And so I just use that as a way to demonstrate sometimes. Let me think of one of myself. One for myself. Like I remember like now, right? Being anxious, just sharing this stuff, which could cause me to be anxious and want to get all the information out to the point where I'm stumbling over my words. So what do? Take some deep breaths and just slow down, start over, think about what it is I'm trying to relay, and it'll come out better and make more sense, right? See, just demonstrated that. So, but with me, I talked about a little earlier about hearing from God. And, once I heard some instructions that, during my time when I was doing a lot of evangelism, once I heard the instructions, I was anxious to go and start evangelizing. And so I shared the information with my spiritual mom, and she said, okay, slow down, wait for God to tell you more. And I did. I followed the instructions and I did, but I had to relax. I had to be quiet. I had to pray. I had to show patience. And then the Lord spoke again concerning what the next steps were for me to demonstrate to him in order to go out on assignment as an evangelist at that time. And so we'd have to be very careful. And again, I'm going to read the steps again. So you're going to calm down, and the role play card is in the back of the skill card is in the back of the book, right? So you need to calm down, identify how you're feeling or your feelings are affecting your body, write your issues in a journal, then find something else to do, right? Distract your mind. Revisit the issue by reading your journal notes. And from there, you're going to find where things are going wrong and what you can do to prevent disasters, right? For the most part. So that was that. Below, list 3 things. So you're supposed to list 3 times being impatient and anxious have prevented you from seeing something through to the end. How many of y'all just oftentimes just give up? Like, I'm good. I don't want to deal with that. I'm good. I'm not going. No, I'll do it another time. Or you'll put it off, right? Because you just don't have the patience, right? And we're talking about being impatient today and being anxious. So there's a homework application in the book as well. In the homework application, it says, setting obtainable goals are important. However, in order to reach those goals, you must plan and be able to see the plan through, right? Right? You must plan, right? Don't be so anxious that you just want to get out there and do it. You cannot succeed at anything. You have to have a plan. So you have a plan you want to be a part of. You want to do so and so. You're going to have to take your time, right? Plan it out step by step. That way to give you a guide that you can follow, right? In order to reach the goal of what it is that you want to do. So, number 1, what are some ways you have learned to be able to show self-discipline in order to reach your goals? Right? What are some of the things that you have done to show self-discipline in order that you reach that goal? Is it budgeting money? Right? Do you know that you're going to need X amount of dollars to complete that goal? What are some of the things that you have done to show self-discipline in order to reach that goals? Because if you're anxious and you're impatient, that can start affecting your budget, right, to reaching goals. if funds are needed, right? So have you thought about, say, starting a savings account, putting money out of your reach, right? Putting money away. Have you started putting money away, saving money, said, I'm not going to touch this. I can't. Are you disciplined in that? Are you, listen, you cannot get to the point where you start spending up that money because you don't have the patience, right? You don't think the program, the project is going to be completed because you haven't reached other goals. So now are you messing with your funds? Right? Are you impatient? Are you too anxious and you can't wait for time to work itself out in order that you are catapulted closer, right, towards reaching your goal? Sometimes you just got to wait, let time, be on your side. Sometimes you have to work kinks out. You have to slow down, right? What about how can you be sure you will use patience? How can you be sure you're going to use patience? How can you be sure that you're not going to self-sabotage, right? That you're not going to get in your way of being patient and mastering, your objectives to reaching your goals. Remember, we're talking about writing out a plan and not letting being impatient and anxious interfere with your plans, right? How are you going to do that? We're talking about working on you while you work through whatever, like certain jobs I've been on. I didn't have patience. I was anxious to do the things that I needed to do in order to move on to the next task of learning or whatever. And when things didn't go my way, I just decided, it was time to go because I wasn't getting what I needed as quickly as I needed. So sometimes we can job jump and stuff like that. Sometimes we can walk away from very important relationships and miss it because we weren't patient. We didn't see things through. Sometimes we can get anxious in working processes and that we have to go through, that we can leave our marriages when God is trying to teach you something, how to be one with somebody, how to, be patient with people. In ministry, we have, pastors that are not patient with, with the congregation, with the members of the church. And sometimes we have people in the church that are not patient with their leaders, with their pastors and things like that. So we have to learn, okay, so I decided I'm going to go to church today. And I'm going to be patient with all these folk in church that just not church folk. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to just leave and get so anxious and leave because I've seen something go wrong at the church. I just threw that in there as an example. How we can, are you sure that's where you want to be? You have to know that you are not going to allow patience in being impatient to assassinate you, right? Your goals, your dreams. Do you know how to handle patience? How do I know that you know how to use patience? Patience is a very valuable tool. I have to have patience to chisel through this thing, to work through. You have to understand you're going to have patience and working through your plan and seeing it to the end. You're going to have to do some deep breathing. You're going to have to walk some time. You're going to have to, climb a mountain, do whatever you need to do to woosah, to bring it in, to find you some peace, some serenity. Some people like going in the woods. I'm hearing that a lot lately. Listen, it's a lot of folk that is still in the way in the woods. As a counselor, I meet a lot of people that have, said they go in the woods. They go in the woods at nighttime. They go in the woods when it rains. They like to be in the woods in the winter. They like different times of season They just like being in the woods because it's so serene. You're going to have to be able to find you a place where you can steal away, where you can go, so that you can stay focused on seeing your objectives through, and so that you can reach your goal. You know, the objectives are the steps that you need to take, the things that you need to overcome in order that you reach your goal, the things you need to work on so that you can reach your goals, whatever that is. And so being anxious, calm down. Calm down. If your anxiousness come because you are experiencing anxiety, and you're not, you haven't been diagnosed with anxiety, or you're not the type of person that pray and believe God can deliver you from anxiety, then you're going to be in trouble. Without your medication, without prayer, you're going to be in trouble. Anxiety, the anxiousness is going to keep triggering your anxiety, right? And then when anxiety comes, it can get bad. Anxiety is ugly. That part right there, it will make you just give up. And so you are never obtain the goal that you have established. You can't get through the objectives. And one of the objectives should be, like I said, if you're spiritual and you don't believe in medicine, then you need to do a whole lot of praying and meditation. Connecting with your higher power. The closer you get to God, I believe you can be delivered from those things. But I also believe in the power of medicine. I believe that God can work through medication for some people, just because I work in the field and I've seen people that had, experienced, like, say, schizophrenia. This stuff is real. People are hearing voices and things for real. And I believe that medication can stop people from hearing voices. I know it for a fact. I've seen it happen, but I've also seen medication induce, that in people as well. Certain medicine side effects. So I've seen both ends of that. All I know is if you're suffering with mental health issues and disorders, you need to talk to your doctor, right, or your spiritualist, or your pastors, or whoever it is, and find out what you need to do to overcome being anxious. You need to learn how to do some deep breathing techniques in order to stay grounded. You can probably Google some grounding techniques through Google. That's free. And I'll tell you, the first one they're going to say is deep breathing. And they have so many different ways and techniques that you can do that can help you. But you're going to have to be able to, just soon as whatever it is that's making you anxious, you're going to have to be able to instantly bring it in. You're going to have to be able to stop at that moment, because you have that issue, and just take some deep breaths and just relax. You can't let people's urgencies be your emergencies. Or should I say, you can't let people's emergencies be your urgencies. Either way, you're going to have to be able to control yourself and be able to bring it in, relax, in order to complete tasks, or to get things done, that you need to do throughout the day. You cannot let those things overtake you. You can't do that, because that's a bad place to be. It's going to cause anxiety every time. You know what I mean? And that's not what you want. So come on, let's do it again. Breathe in your mouth and hold it. Let me do it like this. I think that was 3 seconds. Now do it through your nose. When the kids don't get on your nerves, everybody hooping and hollering in the house, you can't bring it in through your nose. And just hold it for 3 seconds. Let it out. And do that in 3 increments at a time. Like 3 times. Through the mouth. I hope somebody count. Let it out. Right? Through the nose. And hold it for 3 seconds. Let it out. Let it all out. 3 times, right? holding it for 3 seconds, holding your breath for 3 seconds, 3 times straight, holding it. And then just relax and just stay in that space. Keep your eyes closed, and practice doing that. It can be hectic as a mother sometimes. I'm the type of grandma. My grandbabies get to run around the house and stuff. I can't, because I have sinus issues where it seems like fluid is always draining, and my ears are clogged up sometimes, and I don't even know, right? At times, unless I do a sinus flush, you know that's when I know my ears are clogged up. So sometimes when my ears are clogged up, and I don't even know unless my nose start dripping. If my nose start dripping, then I'm gonna flush, right? Because of COVID and everything. So I don't want to stay up on that. And then that's when I feel the pressure all in behind my ears. And then it's not until then that I understand why I was so irritated by noises, right? Just really irritated me. So since I've noticed that that's the issue, I treat those things, right? And I use my deep breathing to calm me down before I say something now, because at first I was just verbally responding to loud noises. Shut up, sit down, get somewhere, and stuff like that. So now I still do it, but the anxiety and the anxiousness for them to respond immediately is not as bad anymore, because I'm focused. I'm focused on pushing away negative energy for me, and bringing in, positive energy, thinking about positive things, eliminating negative thinking, and things like that. Meditating more on silence, just being silent and just being still, and bringing in the positive energy, the spirit of the Lord. I'm asking the Lord, the Holy Spirit, rise up in me in this moment. Let your light fill my body and my mind. And I practice those techniques because things are so dark lately. Things have been very irritating to me, you know. And so here lately, I've been having to do a lot of that so that I am not easily irritated. And sometimes being anxious can be overwhelming, right? Sometimes when people are not doing what you need them to do at that moment, such as chill out, sit down somewhere, calm down, that can cause you to be impatient with them. And then you're going to respond. You're going to respond in a way that's going to bring even more darkness around you, because you got to get in that dark place just to, bring you some peace. And now you got more dark energy around you than anything, because you don't get mad and crazy and hooping and hollering and cussing, and because you can't get no peace. Honey, listen, I'm trying to figure out any and everything I can in order to stay at peace these days. And I invite you to do the same. As I said, writing and journaling is a way that you can identify some of the things that causes you so much irritation, or causes you so much frustration, that causes you to be anxious or impatient. Just start writing. If you're tired of being asked to do things, or if you're tired of having to get up to go to work every day, whatever it is that's causing you to be so anxious, write those things out so that you can identify the negative things, and then start doing some deep breathing, start doing some meditation, read your Bible, right? Do some walking, do something that's going to bring your mind, that's going to slow that heart rate down, that's going to slow your thinking down, because nobody's emergency should be your urgency. In some cases, yes, but in just because people want what they want, or they need you to do whatever it is they need you to do, it doesn't mean that you have to act so quickly. When it comes to you and you wanting to complete projects, you always want to have a plan. You always want to work it out and see how you can create objectives to reaching your goal, to completing your project, your plan, right? If you're going to have to know how you're going to be able to work patience, right? Patience is a valuable tool in getting things done. Are you going to be able to, you know, manage? If it's money involved, how are you going to manage your money? Do you need someone to help handle that for you? so that doesn't interfere with the things that you need to do, because your anxiousness or being impatient won't affect that part of your project, especially if you're going to need it, right? How do you remind yourself to stay focused is the number three on the homework application. How do you remind yourself to stay focused? You have to have that in place. How do you remind yourself to stay focused? Because if you can't stay focused because of you being anxious, that's going to be a problem for you. It's going to be a problem for you. And you have to understand it's going to be a problem for you. If you cannot figure out how you're going to work patience, if you can't figure out, how you're going to be able to stay focused, if you don't know self-discipline, if you're not working on that, those three things can cause you not to be able to achieve the goal of not being impatient and anxious. And that's going to it's going to affect you in some major ways if you can't figure those things out. So I'm run through them. Three things that you have to focus on if you are anxious or impatient in order for you to move forward with any project or to complete tasks, just day-to-day tasks. If you're not focused in these areas and you're not practicing and focusing in these areas, you're going to have some problems. So number one is, what are some ways you have learned to be able to show self-discipline in order to reach your goal? Do you have the self-discipline in place to be able to do it? Can you do it? What are the things you're doing? And then number two, how can you be sure you will use patience? How are you sure that you're going to be able to use patience? Because if you're anxious and impatient, you're going to have to be able to do this. What are some of the techniques that you are learning? What are some of the techniques that you're going to learn in order that you will let patience have her perfect work in you? That's scripture. Number three, how do you remind yourself to stay focused, right? So doing different steps, right? Different objectives you have to work through. How can you remind yourself going through each objective that you must stay focused on your goal, right? You must stay focused on the task at hand. So if you need to do, say, for instance, get a birth certificate and a social security card because your goal is to get your driver's license, how do you know that you can be able to go through those processes in order to get those two credentials that you need? How do you know? Are you allowing patience to have her perfect work in you, right? Patience and going through the process of what you have to do to get each credential, for example, right? How do you know if the task is to get your, say, ID in Ohio and you need those two pieces of credentials? There's process that you got to go through to get each of them. Two different governmental agencies you're going to have to work with them. But if you're anxious and you're impatient and you can't stand in a line to get either, that's going to be a problem. Slow down, take some breaths, right? If you're working through your marriage and things are not responding, your wife or husband is not responding the way that you need them to, you're going to have to learn to work patience. You got to be disciplined in it, right? We got to be disciplined in working patience, not being anxious. You got to tackle those areas, those processes, and say, hey, I'm in this. I have to reach my goal, whatever the goal is. And so, yes, I have to go through these steps, these objectives. I have to master each one of these in order to reach my goal. In order to be successful, I have to do this. I want to start a business, but I need a business partner. You have to be patient with sifting through the friends and different people in order to pick the right person to enter into this partnership with. If you can't deal with people, you don't have patience for people because they're not like you, they're different, then you're going to have a problem picking the right person probably to partner with, right? If you're trying to save up because you want to own a home, you want to save up a down payment on a home or cars or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish business wise, you have to be patient, right? You can't mess with, you have to know how to budget your money, how not to mess with your money in different areas. You have to know what you're doing and how to work through processes in order that things are in place, right? So that when it's time for everything to come together, you can present and say, I've reached my goal. You can go to a bank and say, here's my down payment. My credit is in order. I've been working on this, blah, 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 blah. I have this, I have that. Here you go. And, that's the home that I want to purchase. You have to go through the processes and you have to be patient in doing that. I'm hoping today that you have found something out of the show, got something that can help you on dealing with being impatient and being anxious. I got a quick quiz, and after that, I'm going to go ahead and close the show. The first, it's just 5 questions. 5 questions in the quiz. And the quiz is identifying the reason why you are impatient and anxious is useless, helpful after the fact, useful when learning skills to defeat being impatient and anxious. Of course, that's number C. Self-discipline is necessary because A, I might hurt someone. B, people expect me to be. 3, I have to be able to accomplish my goals. C, right? Or 3. Believing and trusting the process can be helpful because A, I will learn coping skills. B, it will speed up the process. C, I will learn to be self-disciplined. D, B, and C. D is sorry, A and C. Both A and C. Number 4, it's okay to be impatient / anxious. Is that true or false? That's false. I can learn to be self-disciplined. Is that true or false? That's true. You can do this. You got this. I know that you can. I know that you can. It's simple, right? Just decree and declare today that you're not going to let nothing and nobody cause you to be anxious, cause you to be impatient. um, Declare today that you're going to establish a plan, and you're going to work through that plan in order to accomplish the goals that you have set forth for yourself. Because guess what? It's time for you to move in that thing. It's time for you to finally decide that, hey, I am not, so that, because my sabotaging is causing me not to get what I want, and I deserve what I deserve. Thank you today. Thank you for joining me today. It has been a pleasure to open up my course book and to chop it up with you about being impatient and about being anxious. I started off a little anxious because I just didn't want to do the show, but I'm so glad that I did, because if I had not, I would not have saw that you decided to join the show today. God bless each and every one of you. I will be back next week, hopefully with my guests. And then the next chapter we're going to cover is being self-righteous. I'll see you then. God bless you.